Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome. It's me, V. I hope you're doing well. And today's video is going to be a movie review of Sinners. So, overall thoughts, this movie ate. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 toothpicks. I say toothpicks because it ate, and it ate so good and so much and so well that there's still food stuck in his teeth, so it needs a toothpick. Okay. So, costumes, 8. Casting and the performances, specifically of Michael B. Jordan, 8. Haley Steinfeld, 8. Who? Oh my God, Preacher Boy, that voice, Preacher Boy, 8. Perlene, 8. It 8. Dialogue, scenes, character development. The old man, the uncle, he was my favorite. 8. Symbolism, overall story, 8. Honorable mentions. Everybody in that movie eating their food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, spoilers. Native Americans at the beginning of the movie who were wise, clocked in, and were like, hey, yo, some shit's going down. And then they saw it, and they were like, oh, okay, we're gonna leave. And then that was it. And they lived. 8. So first things first. Annie, 8. No, but yes, but also her being the reason why anybody in that movie survived. Her being a fat, dark-skinned black woman who did hoodoo was the only reason that anybody knew what the fuck was going on. But I don't know who Smoke was, and I don't know who Stack was. They was twins. I know one of them was with Annie and he lived, and one of them was with Mary and he died. Which this is very much gonna be all over the place with them and their baby. I'm not gonna lie, that scene where she would sell her products and her goods. He shows up to put some milk for their deceased baby, and she's like, "What you doing here?" And then yada yada yada, and he's grilling her. He's like, "Why your shit don't work for the baby, and you still into all that?" And she's like, "It worked for you." That little piece of information. So Annie was my absolute favorite. I loved her. I thought she was absolutely brilliant. Literally. She was beautiful. She was absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. My other favorite is the old man. I don't know, whatever the uncle's name was. I don't know what that man's name was. I don't remember. But I loved him. He was, he stood on business. The money situation with all the other Como City say townspeople, like, I'm glad low-key that the movie went the way it did, because them townspeople really only had the money that they had, and it wasn't real money, but they deserved the night of shaking ass. They all died though. I just remember that's crazy. Like, they didn't just go home, and it was like, we need to keep everybody outside. They're walking, baby girl, they're dead. Anyways, I loved the old dude, the uncle. He stood on business. Preacher Boy his voice was crazy. I liked both of the twins. I liked the twin that was with Annie better for multiple reasons. But yeah, I didn't like really Perlene. She cheated on her husband. I loved watching those women walk in that movie. That's all I have to say. But she was married. He was young. Like, girl, I guess it was her last day to live or whatever, but like, please. I loved the folklore that he brought in about like folks throughout the world who have this gift of like music and connecting to, spirituality. I like, and the gift of music. I love that that he brought that in. I loved the scene with the different eras of music and the different ways or the different genres that black Americans specifically, with the exception of the Asian, I think, folks, their ancestors have influenced, because we really are the blueprint. But I think it's so interesting in that piece of folklore too, the idea that like these people with this incredible gift that like transcends time and literally space also attracts like evil and like demon. But that kind of analogy just hit me, and I really really enjoy that thought and that piece of the movie. The screen being like, they get like is it widescreen, whatever it's called, where the screen was like this the whole movie, and it's just like normal. And it was so crazy because I think subconsciously when I started the movie, I was like, I'm not in the movie theater. Why is it like this? You know what I'm saying? But you kind of don't even register it, and then the fight scene happens, and it goes full screen. That I had to like the chills, the goosebumps that I got from that was just, oh my goodness. That I think the entire movie, again, I thought it was absolutely incredible for so many different reasons, really every reason. But I think that it going, I'm gonna guess, from widescreen to full screen for that fight scene, and then back to it, widescreen was just so, and is so indicative of Ryan Coogler or whoever had that idea and greenlighted it, like so indicative of their talent, and just like that's movie shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like, it was so, it added such a cinematic element to watching the movie, even bootleg at home. I didn't say that. That I really, 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 really appreciated it. A few like larger points that I think I really want to touch on. Oh my god, the foreshadowing of, I thought he was a vampire. So when that first scene happened and Preacher Boy is in the, the church with his dad, he's like gripping the como se dice, guitar, and he's nervous. And then watching it, thinking back, I'm like, oh, he got bit. And that scene is him about to pounce on everybody. It was just so good. The whole movie was just so good. What does freedom mean? What do those choices to freedom mean and look like? That was present for Mary, I would say, to a certain extent. If not, whichever one of them was in love with her. I don't know. One of the twins. Like, I think for Uncle, he was very much like, I'm a sinner, I'm a drunk, I play this piano. And he was so rooted in his identity that when like push came to shove and it was time to get shit crack-a-lackin', he was on go, right? Same thing with Annie. Like, she very much chose who she wanted to be. Like, she was like, I'm a root worker, I'm a conjure woman, I'm gonna do this, I know about the spirits. And so when it was go time, that was it. It was go time. Whereas I think the characters that kind of, I don't know, maybe the characters, I'm trying to remember, I might be wrong, but the characters that kind of struggles, specifically Preacher Boy, right? Like that, I think that thread of like, what is freedom and identity and choices and like the societal, familial, right? Like that internal and external push and pull. I thought that was really so important. And I think it's something that has stuck with me, and I think culturally for Black Americans is something that we should definitely be chewing on. Vultureism, vampirism. First of all, the drool was crazy. If I saw no vampires, no nothing, if I saw anybody drooling like that, I would crap my pants. I'm gonna keep it up with you, girl. It was just like, y'all, why y'all singing about that Robin? Like, y'all scaring me. Like, I was scared. Him dropping from the sky and burning. It was just like, they were just creepy. Beyond being vampires, like, maybe it was old dude's face. Maybe it was homeboy's face, too. I think the casting of them, of him specifically being Irish, was so good. The Irish were discriminated against because of their ethnicity, but were assimilated into whiteness. And for me, it was just that choice. And the culture of Ireland is so alive. Like, that circle where he was doing, I don't know what the dance is called, so please forgive me. And they were like, that was fire. That ate. It was so interesting for me because not only two things. Like, through him being forced to give up his culture, his rich culture, right, for the assimilation into whiteness, and his religion, as he mentioned at the end of the story. Not only did the assimilation into whiteness force him to do that, but then buying into whiteness, he also bought into anti-blackness. He had to. Like, it's like peanut butter and jelly, right? Like, you can't have one without the other. Mary's identity was so interesting. Her saying, like, I didn't want to be white. Like, girl, you kind of don't have a choice. The casting was great. I think her and whichever twins, like, how their relationship kind of interacted with her whiteness, and like what she didn't want to give up, but what he gave up for her to give her a better life, was so interesting. Her being family, but then being picked by the vampires and being the one to like, or questioned by the vampires and being the one to introduce the vampirism into the club was just Chef's kiss. I can go on about that. I have nothing to say about that right now, though. Why did she turn her back on him? She was like, I'ma go, y'all. Girl, that's how you know she... Anyways, religion also, I think, with the culture, played a big part of this movie. Annie's, I mean, I know I have a video about that. That was, I think, amazing. Whichever twin, his amulet pulsating and keeping the vampire away. 8, chef's kiss. Preacher boy not genuinely being a believer, and if not a believer, not being committed enough to his father's religion, right, to like become a preacher boy. I don't know, a deacon. I don't know. But then in this moment of fear, reverting back to the religion, I think was so powerful. And then the vampire, whatever his name was, I don't know, Michael B. Jordan A. Anyways, the vampire, Remy? The vampire also reciting the Lord's Prayer, right? Like, in this moment, and then dunking him, like, baptizing him was, like, scary good. Then him getting baptized by the fire, scary good. The vampire. All of them feeling his pain. That's giving me narcissism vibes. I'm gonna think about that and maybe Google it a little bit. But that's very much giving me like energy vampire narcissism, like flying monkey kind of vibe. I don't know. Asian couple. Cute, love them. 4 out of 10. Out of 5. 4 out of 5. I thought that scene of the wife walking through the worlds was chef's kiss. 8. The solidarity, that also reminds me like the white folks being clans people. Just I thought that was very, very interesting that the vampire found these white folks and was able to hone in on this shared principle of anti-blackness. Them also not knowing that Native Americans were in the area because they could have just been light-skinned black people. I didn't know anything about the history, that there was any history of Asian immigrants. I think they were Chinese, but I don't want to say that for sure. Of Asian immigrants in the South during that time. So that was really, really cool. A little fun fact or piece of information that he brought in. The wife got on my nerves. The wife, you watched your husband leave 3 hours ago to go to the car and then stand next to a guy getting eaten alive. So you call all of them in because you think that they're gonna they said they weren't gonna leave. They said Mary literally said, I'm coming back. They're not worried about your daughter. Girl, what? I mean, it led to the widescreen to full screen and the fight scene, but it ate. Take a shot every time I say 8. Yeah, those are, I think, all of my thoughts. I really, really enjoyed the movie. The ending was great. Haley Steinfeld and Michael B. Jordan B being, because Michael B. Jordan A is the one that was with Annie, period. In those outfits was hilarious. I thought it was very, I don't know, something about them in them 80s outfits is like the interracial couple in the 80s just kind of like tickled me. I thought it was kind of funny. I don't know. The Barbie named after Perline was cute. She cheated on her husband though, but anyways, I hope her husband's alive. Him recognizing that they were, him not actually Michael B. Jordan A, not actually killing Michael B. Jordan B, kind of irked me, but hey, whatever. Him ripping off his talisman before he handed them Klansmen their asses, that 8. That scene with Annie, and the baby, and them crisp whites, that 8. The movie was good. That movie was good. When Preacher Boy, it cut to that scene in the beginning, he's shaking with that guitar in his hand, and then you see him clutching that guitar driving, bawling, tears. I was sobbing. I had to pause the movie. That movie, 5 out of 5 toothpicks, 8 out of 10. It ate. See y'all later.